On Liberty by John Stuart Mill. Chapter 2. Of the Liberty of Thought and Discussion. First half, pages 15 to 33. Recap of Mill's introduction. The individual has dominion over his own thoughts, words, and actions. People should be allowed to act freely without their expression being limited by a government. Chapter 2. If all mankind minus one were of one opinion, and only one person were of the contrary opinion, mankind would be no more justified in silencing that one person than he, if he had the power, would be justified in silencing mankind. Even if every living person agrees except one, we have no right to silence the one person who disagrees. But why? Argument 1. The argument from skepticism. We can never be sure that the opinion we are endeavoring to stifle is a false opinion. The opinion which it is attempted to suppress by authority may possibly be true. Those who desire to suppress it, of course, deny its truth, but they are not infallible. To refuse a hearing to an opinion because they are sure that it is false is to assume that their certainty is the same thing as absolute certainty. All silencing of discussion is an assumption of infallibility. Any assumption of infallibility is unjustified. Should we just never believe in anything then? Are all opinions unjustified? Mill writes that it is not the feeling sure of a doctrine which I call an assumption of infallibility. It is the undertaking to decide that question for others, without allowing them to hear what can be said on the contrary side. To prevent against unjustified overconfidence, Mill advises the reader to remember the fate of history's greatest men. Socrates. Mill writes that mankind can hardly be too often reminded that there was once a man named Socrates, between whom and the legal authorities and public opinion of his time there took place a memorable collision. This acknowledged master of all the eminent thinkers who have since lived was put to death by his countrymen after a judicial conviction for impiety and immorality. Jesus. Mill writes that the man who left on the memory of those who witnessed his life and conversation such an impression of his moral grandeur that 18 subsequent centuries have done homage to him as the Almighty in person was ignominiously put to death. As what? As a blasphemer. Men did not merely mistake their benefactor. They mistook him for the exact contrary of what he was and treated him as that prodigy of impiety which they themselves are now held to be for their treatment of him. Summary of Mill's argument from skepticism. People have been wrong about all kinds of things in the past, often the things they were most sure about. For example, the people around Socrates and Jesus were radically wrong about the moral character of these two men. We ourselves are susceptible to the same kind of misconceptions that led past generations astray. Consequently, we should allow speech that makes us uncomfortable because it is possible that this very speech is the thing that progresses the world in the right direction. New and different things can be scary, but they can also be good for us. The words of Socrates and Jesus were uncomfortable, new, and scary. People in the past have been wrong about many things. People in our times will also be wrong about many things. We should be skeptical of ourselves and not assume our own infallibility. This concludes Mill's argument from skepticism, the first main argument of Chapter 2. What is Mill's second main argument for why speech should never be censored by the government? For the answer, read the second half of Chapter 2, of Liberty of Thought and Discussion.